Hello and welcome to Off the Fence, a podcast where we deconstruct difficult decision making to try to figure out what keeps us stuck and how do we get unstuck. I'm your host, Karen Covey, a former divorce lawyer, mediator, and arbitrator turned coach, author, and entrepreneur. With me today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Laurie Gerber. And Laurie is a life coach who's the resident love expert at Match, Zusk, JDate, and many more. She's appeared on The Today Show, Dr. Phil, MTV, and A&E. She's appeared on television shows, podcasts, radio shows, and all over the internet, and she's given a TED Talk on the power of truth-telling. After holding several positions at Handel Group over the last 20 years, including president of HG Life, Laurie is currently licensing the Handel Method and running Laurie Gerber Coaching Inc., focusing on love coaching. When not working from her New York City townhouse, Laurie is meditating, jogging, or attempting to get cuddles from her 10, 20, and 22-year-old kids and husband of 26 years. Laurie, welcome to the show.
Great to be here. Thank you.
Well, I have to tell you, someone who has been married for 26 years, I would say knows a thing or two about love. Just guessing.
I mean, that's why they put me in front of those audiences when I was working for Handel Group. I was the one coach that kind of could speak to dating and marriage and a near divorce experience and saving my marriage and keeping it hot and all the things. So that's how I got to be focused on love.
That makes so much sense. And if you don't mind, let's start with how did you get into this? What brought you to love coaching?
Yeah. Well, I started my career in coaching as a client looking for help with my business because I, like you, was an entrepreneur. I hired a life coach named Lauren Handel who owned the Handel Group and came up with this coaching method called the Handel Method. And I asked her to help me in my business. She took one look at my marriage and she said, "Are you sure you want to focus on your business first? You're going to tank your marriage. If I were you, I would get your foundation situated before starting to dream in your career because you're about to become very destabilized if you continue the way you're going." I was shocked. My mouth fell far down, but she was so bold and so honest. I couldn't help but believe her and see what she meant by that. And in fact, my husband was very dissatisfied and angry at me and was threatening divorce. I wasn't taking it seriously or thinking anything could change, but she boom woke me up that I could change and things could change. And thank goodness, because I didn't want to lose my marriage. That wasn't my goal. So I turned that around and then I ended up starting to work for her because I love the methodology, was an executive and helped run that company for many, many years until fast forward to perimenopause and just rethinking everything and needing to care for my parents, etc. I struck off on my own, still licensing that method. And then the marketers all said I had to pick a niche. Like, what do you like doing the best? I said, I really love women over 50 and the whole getting back into dating after divorce or losing your partner, or maybe even if you were never with somebody. I love that. I love that niche. It's fun for me. It's just such a it's a special moment in time. And that's where I most want to help.
That's awesome. But if you don't mind, I'd like to go back a little bit because I'm fascinated. I guess it's just the nature of the work that I do.
Right.
But how did you turn your marriage around?
Oh, okay. I'm gonna try to encapsulate it since it's not the topic we came to speak of.
I know, sorry. I can't
No,
help myself. I heard that and I gotta ask.
It's honestly a great story. So in my comprehensive intake for coaching, which is still how I do it with clients when I coach them, I had to reveal that I was no longer having sex with my husband and that that we were just basically tolerating each other, arguing, co-parenting. We had 2 little kids at the time. We were both running businesses. It was very chaotic. And we had checked all the looks good on paper boxes, but we were not communicating. We were not intimate. And it turned out I really didn't know why my husband was that upset until I sat down and said, "Hey, listen, I actually want to have a connected, deep, and intimate relationship." And he said, "Well, you've literally never listened to what I have to say for the whole story. Like you cut me off after 2 or 3 sentences and I stopped trying to talk to you years ago," which was the next time my jaw dropped and I was like, "Oh." I mean, truly, I thought I was helping every time interrupted him. I was like, I'm getting you to your point faster. What's the problem? So that was those two things, that a marriage without sex is just a friendship. And if you don't listen, they stop talking. Those were such revelations to me. And I didn't want to be that girl. I didn't want a friendship with my co-parent. And I didn't want, I mean, I had a friendship. I didn't want a friendship only. And I didn't believe in not listening. I was teaching it. So I changed and I never went back.
I love that story. You're right. It's an awesome story. But you know what I love the most about it was that you said, I changed. Like you didn't spend months or years or who knows how long trying to change your husband, which never goes well. You and I both know, but that you started with yourself and that turned everything around.
Did. It's such good news because that's what you can control.
100%. But I'm curious too. Um, when you changed, did he then change or how did that work?
Of course, Karen, because that is how it works. You can't just watch someone take accountability and transform and become a new and better person and not want to join in the fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that I know that's not what we're supposed to be talking about here, but I just couldn't help myself because so many people are caught in a similar situation and they really want to turn it around. I mean, look, I don't know that I've ever met anybody who right out of the gate is going, "Yeah, let's get a divorce. This is going to be great. I'll have fun." I mean, that's not what it's about, right? So if somebody can save their marriage, that's what they want to do. And
Right.
that, and you're like walking, talking, living proof
Yeah.
that it can happen.
There are certain, and maybe we should do a different conversation on this, but there are certain factors that need to be in place for it to be possible. And I've coached many, 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 many couples, either towards an amicable breakup or saving their marriage. So I can speak from professional experience as well as personal. It's not always fixable, but it
Right.
often is. And the smartest place to start is with what you can change, because that's just the right sequence. That's just the right order of things.
Well, and it's the only thing you really have any power over, right? But it's not the place that most people start. That's why I couldn't let this go. I had to dig a little bit. But it also leads to the whole love coaching and relationship coaching and dating, whether that's during or after divorce, and we'll get into that in a minute, but when do you think somebody should think about dating? Is it while they're going through the divorce process, afterwards, how long afterwards, what do they have to do? I mean, when do they know, yeah, I should do this or I can do this?
Right. I mean, let me first just say the concept of taking personal responsibility and being able to own your side of the street is so absolutely crucial to dating, and to segue into the conversation of when you're ready, when you can tell an honest story of your breakup with your own accountability of what happened without just completely only blaming the other person. I'm not saying the other person didn't have a part. They did. Of course they did. In fact, even in the most abusive situations, you can still own choosing it, but yeah, I mean, there are degrees of blame and
Hmm.
degrees of criminality. But one of my readiness factors I look for in the women I coach is, can you tell a balanced, honest, self-loving, but responsible story of your breakup?
What would that look like? Can you give me an example? I mean, totally
Sure,
made up, but
sure, sure. I'm actually coaching someone through it right now. Your dad and I loved each other. We were great partners. We wanted a family really badly, and we oh, sorry, this is as if you're telling your child, but you would
oh,
on a
okay.
date, you would, if you sorry, change my mindset too. I'm on a date. I love this person. I met him young. We wanted a family. We did that. And then our needs and ability to meet each other's needs changed and grew apart. And I was really interested in doing a lot of growth and work on myself and introspection. And he wasn't interested. He wasn't into that. And so I finally said, it's probably best for both of us to just, it's okay. The kids are going to be okay. We're going to be okay. We're still very good friends, but we were just no longer a compatible match for the kind of growth I was looking for. And we weren't attracted to each other anymore, frankly, because of that.
Okay, so to get to that point where you can tell a story without the story of the demise of your marriage without getting caught up in the
Right.
emotion of it, which is
Right.
not easy to do.
No, it's traumatic
Um,
for a lot of people.
it is, and there has to be a certain amount of time that goes by. I don't think anybody can do that right out of the gate,
Agreed.
but it's also about more than time, I would think. So what
Yeah.
does it take to get to that
Yeah.
point?
Well, I mean, I bet you know. But I think one of the first things I do with, again, with my daters who are on the bench and they're kind of questioning, am I ready? Am I ready? Is I make them do a relationship history exercise where they chart all their past relationships, not just their marriage, and say what was great, what was not great, what attracted to me, what broke us up. And I have them rate it on a head, heart, and hoo-ha criteria. So head, how sensible was it? Heart, how did it feel? And hoo-ha, how was the attraction? And so there's this very black and white sort of analysis that we can then do to what are your patterns? What do you sell out on? Because we can talk about we can zoom in on any one trauma drama, or we can zoom out and go, okay, let's go even to your parents and their love histories, right? Let's look at the whole scene and see. I take a spiritual perspective, like the soul is here to evolve something. We're here to figure something out. We don't want our kids to have the same issues we have, so let's just take a closer look at what are the patterns here and define them. So that's one of the so to lovingly and fearlessly start to take a look at your family history and your personal history with love. That's one of the steps. And it's not I mean, I just wish I could shout this from the rooftops. There's not a million kinds of mistakes humans make, right? They sell out for hoo-ha, they sell out for head, they sell out for heart, right? And there's not a million variations of how people are dysfunctional in choosing their love mates.
Well, what do you mean when you say sell out?
I mean, okay, thank you for asking. That's a great question. And this also just segues beautifully into what you need to figure out if you're ready to date or not,
Mhm.
is you in your highest consciousness, you have your criteria for your head, your criteria for your heart, and your criteria for your hoo-ha. So and if you're a man, your heat, whatever you want to call that H, whatever turns you on. So your criteria for head are things like, do we want the same things? Do we want to spend the kind of time together? Do we want the same activities? Do we orient towards our families in ways that would combine well? Do our dreams intersect in ways that don't make them mutually exclusive? Is the money going to work out okay? Are there health issues that are going to create a huge problem? So the head is practical. Then the heart is all about how it feels. And the heart is a wild card because you could you could really find out you care about something you didn't know you cared about, like the way they make you laugh, or the way they look at you, or the way they treat your mother, or the way they treat their kids. Or there's the heart is a little less black and white about what it likes, but it likes what it likes, and it knows when it feels safe and trusting, and like you found someone that you want to be best friends with, and you want to care for and have them care for you. And then the hoo-ha is attraction and chemistry, and again, that can be a wild card too. People think they know their type, and 50% of the time, they end up picking something they didn't think was their type and being very happy and attracted. So when I say sell out, I mean, most of us don't think we can have all three. We pick one or two out of the three and sell out the third because we think it's a pie of 100%. And if you get 70% hoo ha, you only have 30% left over for head and heart. And my methodology, the 3H method, which is part of the Handel method, is 100%, 100%, 100%. 100% head, 100% heart, 100% hoo-ha, and you're going for an 8 out of 10 in each, not making them compete, actually giving them each their own voice and giving each voice validity.
Interesting. So would you say, I take it from what you're saying that if that level of attraction isn't there, that i- it's not going to work, or is there something you can do to up the attraction level?
Great question. So let's say you love and feel cared for by this person, and it looks good on paper, your lives would mesh, you want the same things, but the I don't even let you go from a video date to a live date unless the attraction's at a 6 or above. Right? So if it's a 2, sorry, right? But if it's a 6, which a 6 is kind of like, I don't know, leaning towards no, but it's
Mm-hmm.
still, I don't know. There's still an I don't know in it. Like maybe, I
Okay.
don't know. I need to see this person, how they act, how they, maybe if they lost 20 pounds, maybe if they shaved that beard or grew a beard, So, so getting you from a 6 to 8 is fun, right? And I really have had women. I think I just celebrated 2 years with one of my 50 plus women with her boyfriend who she adores. And when we met him and when we started, she was at a 997 in hoo ha. Right. And so
Okay.
we were like, oh dear, we might like, let's not give up right away. Right. And so she made a list of all of her concerns, and they really kind of boiled down to how he dressed, right? And this was a guy at the time, he was not yet divorced. He had teenage daughters, and he was a beautiful body, cute face, like a lots to recommend him. And so I just got her to work up the courage to be like, so John, we'll call him. I'm really digging you. I think you're great. I'm attracted to you. I think we have a lot in common. I'm looking for my one. I know you are too. How would you feel about me doing a little clothing makeover on you? Like, would you be up for that? Because, your wardrobe's pretty 90s. Like it just hasn't been updated. And I love fashion and I'm into it. And I want to go out with you and be proud of how we look. And he just said, thank God. Like, thank God you came along, right? Because my kids make fun of me. I have no taste in clothing. I don't know what to do. I'm just trying to get something on my body to leave the house. Of course I need this help. I would love to please you in this way. Let's set a budget. Whoops. Let's set a budget. Let's pick some places, and yeah, style me. You could be my stylist. I'm happy. So that's just the one example of hoo-ha can go up. I have other stories where if you tell the truth, I mean, the first thing that my husband said to me on our first date, he said, can we brush our teeth before we kiss? He basically said, your breath stinks. And it did. Like, I was eating garlic that day. So he gave me a hoo-ha note on the first date. And like in that moment, I was like mortified, but I brushed my teeth. We had a great first kiss, and now it's 30 plus years together. So my point is, if you're brave enough to admit if your hoo-ha's only a 6, 7, and ask for, I have another story. Should I tell one more?
Yeah, please.
So one more story about the woman who really cared about her guy being healthy and fit, and he wasn't. And she liked everything else about him. But then at the, we say you get about 3 dates to figure this out. And so on the third date, we made her work up the courage to do this design conversation where she says, look, I'm into my own health. I find health and, strong body attractive. And this is what I'm into. And I'm concerned if we ended up together, I would be judging you for that, or just, it would concern me on a health level. And, that's my taste. My taste is just a little more, firm and toned. Right? You have to say it in just the right way. And he said, I was in a car accident and I've been off my workout routine, and I'm just cleared by the doctor to get back. But normally this is how I look. And he pulled out a picture, which was like, oh, why didn't you say so? And then proceeded to, become that person again. So these are the good stories, right? There are some stories where you can't get the hoo-ha up to an 8 or above, and then that's not your person.
Well, and how do you deal with that? Because I always thought, I mean, I dated for a very long time before I found my husband. And what I found to be true is that if the chemistry wasn't there, and it might not be something that you could put your
Right,
finger on and
right,
say, you're dressing like a schlub,
right.
or, it's this or it's that. There was just that, like,
Yeah,
it wasn't there. And
right.
sometimes, and you try so
No,
blooming
that's
hard,
not a match. And that
Okay.
can go either way. So you can change what you can change. But I had another client who did not like the way her partner smelled. She literally, and that was not, and they tried to change it. They tried eating differently and mouthwash, they tried things, but she couldn't shake it, and that smell was triggering for her, and she ended up breaking up with him. So I think that can go both ways, and it's important to consider chemistry can grow. We have so many stories about how someone treats you and how someone behaves makes them sexier and gets them to an 8 or above. Conversely, you could make all the changes and it's just you just don't feel it because there is
Yeah.
something about hoo-ha that's pheromonal, hormonal, and maybe something that happened before you turned 18. I don't know. To me, I feel like I was scarred by some of the movies of my childhood, but so some things you can change and some things you can't.
But, and the other thing, would you say it could also go the other way? Like you have a certain level of attraction to someone that's, really amazing in the beginning, but the way they treat you or what
Totally.
happened, and it
100%.
happens makes you go, yeah,
Exactly. In fact, the very most attractive guys I ever dated, I lost attraction within weeks because the head and the heart were not there. So it just, you know, height, hair color, eye color, facial bone structure, those are, 12% of the story.
yeah. So let's talk about something you brushed on a little bit about, when you start dating like this guy in one of the stories, he was still legally married. I mean, how do you feel about that?
Yeah.
When should people get back on the horse, so to speak?
It's obviously an individual choice. I think I don't have a moral issue with dating while you're still married, unless you do, or unless that's going to get you in trouble in your divorce proceedings, which it definitely can. You'd know more about that. But I don't think you should find the last love of your life, your long term companion, while you're still married, preferably. Many people do. I think the exception proves the rule. It is possible to find that love of your life during that period, but I don't think it's smart to look for it.
Yeah. I 100% on the same page. I mean, and again, circumstances dictate personal preference and personality, and all the things play a role. But for most people, dating while you are still married just complicates the devil out of your divorce. It
It
confuses your
does.
kids, it complicates
Yep.
the legal proceedings. Or it can. And here's the problem: you don't know if it's going to until you do it and everything explodes. And then you go, oh,
Right.
guess I
Whoops.
shouldn't have done that. Right.
Right. Very good point.
So,
Very good point.
I'm not a fan of dating before you're legally divorced. But that having been said, um, sometimes divorces drag on for
So
years.
long. Yes, that's right. And those are the exceptions where I don't think you're supposed to sit on the bench forever. But I want to throw in one more, factor to consider, which is that if you are looking for the long-term love of your life, which I don't recommend after you get a divorce, I recommend you actually see the world, right? And get your groove back and have fun and learn and try different things. I mean, that's what you've been sheltered from for all the years that you were married. So I don't recommend looking for the last love of your life while
Right
you're
out of the
getting
gate.
a
Yeah.
divorce or even directly after your divorce, depending on how long it takes. But when you are ready again to look for that love of your life, your long-term committed partner, you want someone who's also looking for someone single. Right? Most people would like to be with a single person if they're looking for their long-term committed partner. So who are you attracting if you're not?
That's a very good point. I had not thought of that, but you make a really good point.
Think very deeply about these things. I just say like the love of your life is looking for you when you're available, right? The love of your life doesn't want you unavailable because you're in the middle of drama, because you're still totally enmeshed with this other person, because you're still heartbroken and angry, because you're still married, right? The love of your life wants you free and available.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes all the sense in the world. But talk to me about, because I know you work a lot with, well, you work exclusively with women, right? Or
I mean, the truth, Karen, is I work with everybody, but my niche, quote unquote, my marketing is geared towards women over 50. But I've been working with everybody, all genders, all ages, all everything for over 20 years. So
okay. Well, let's talk about the biggest mistake that you see your clients making male or female, whoever they are, no matter what their age, but the biggest mistake they make that keeps them from
Yeah.
their happily ever
Oh
after?
my gosh, this just kill again, shouting from the rooftops. Don't dive into online dating before you're ready. It really is like jumping into the pool when you don't know how to swim. Like maybe you'll figure it out and maybe you'll survive and maybe you'll even enjoy it. But 90% of the time you're gonna have a near drowning experience and not like the water anymore. And that analogy is so real.
Okay, so what does it mean to be ready for it or under like what's the big deal about online dating? What do you need to know?
So many things. I have a whole course about this, Karen. I'm going to try to summarize. Okay. So, first, you are actually resolved and at peace about your breakup. Unless you're going for casual, in which case you will signal on your profile, just looking for casual, fun activity partners. Okay, that's fine. You don't have to be totally resolved in that situation. But if you're looking for the long term love of your life, you feel resolved, you have a good story, you understand your past mistakes, you kind of know what your patterns are, your friends are holding you to account to not pick that way again, all that. And then you understand what you're looking for, head, heart, and hoo ha. And I have a whole exercise for that, of course. It's actually in my free webinar, so anybody can do that exercise to articulate what you want. And then you have to learn about dating sites. If you've never been on dating sites or apps, if you've been out of the game for 20 or more years, you don't know how to do the digital version of dating. You
Okay, so what's so hard about that?
well, it depends. If you love technology, it might be so fun for you. It really might be. But if you don't feel savvy with your thumbs and you don't like looking at a screen or a phone and you've never had to fill out a prompt before, or you get overwhelmed by that there are 50 choices and more every day of which site should I choose, what what should I buy, what features do I need, etc., etc. So that is a whole decision making process that require I think is smoother when you have coaching, smoother to pick and then to do the prompts and create the profile.
Okay, so let's talk about because it's been a minute since I've been on the market. And online dating was in its infancy when I met my husband.
Right.
So I have a little experience, but very little. And so what I'm curious about is how do you know which site you should be on or shouldn't be on? Because it seems to me, and I know, like I'm shooting from the hip here. I don't know a whole lot about this, but it seems to me that some of them are for you're looking for a serious relationship. Some of them are you're just looking for a hookup.
Right.
Some of them,
Right.
maybe some of them skew older or this or that. Like,
Sure.
how do you figure out what you want?
Right. And by the way, depending on when you listen to this recording, things will have changed because it's such a fast moving industry because so many millions of people are single looking for love and using technology to do it. So don't, I'm going to give you broad strokes. The kinds of criteria you will look at are just like with dating, head, heart, and hoo ha. Right? Which sites are you attracted to? Right? Like go on to the websites and see which ones you just are attracted to. You like what they look like. That is literally a criteria to pick the dating site for you. Heart, which ones make you feel good? So some sites are all about pictures, and some sites go all the way to not only in-depth prompts, but all the way to a matching algorithm where they're actually trying to match make for you, not just present their wares. And then the last thing is user friendliness. That's head, right? Do you like the price? Do you like the interface? There are some apps you can only do on your phone. I could never do that. I need to see a screen. I can't, it's too small for me, no matter what glasses I use. So so those are the head heart criteria factors that you need to weigh in picking the site for you. I will just say, I have seen people have a lot of success with Match, with Bumble, with Hinge, the big sites that have a lot of people that have a lot of experience. There are downsides to all of them. I have a 36-page document in my paid digital course that explains the pros and cons of each one. Like it's
Wow.
and again, it's outdated today, right? But it's a shopping process just like dating to find the ones that are right for you. Good news, you only need one or two. And if you don't like them, you move on to another one or two. And there's so many.
Well, that was going to be my question. How many should you be on at any one given time?
One or two. One or two. decrease dating fatigue and increase enjoyment of the process. So 1 or 2, and you're spending an hour a day, either early
Okay.
morning or in the evening. If you're serious, if you're not serious, you don't need to do that.
Okay. So you're going to spend an hour a day swiping, or does that hour include messaging with somebody, maybe getting on a Zoom call, going for a coffee, blah, blah, blah? What do you do?
The hour a day is to fill your pipeline, and it's for what I call it's for acknowledging interest,
Hmm.
bantering, which is the 1 to 2 weeks of texting back and forth, and then video chats to see if there's chemistry. Once you move into actually getting to live dates, 1 hour a day doesn't work. It needs to be 2 or 3 dates a week.
Right.
Make sense?
Okay. So is that the progression that you recommend that people go through? It's like the swiping, the bantering, a video chat, and then a live date. And when they start live dating, do you recommend coffee just for, or, a drink or dinner, or like, how do you get into the live dating sequence?
Again, I have so much content on these wonderful topics, but to summarize, coffee, tea, smoothie, possibly a drink if you must, but just one. So I want it to be a half an hour date, and if it's going well, you extend it to a meal or a walk. If it is not, if the ratings of Head, Heart, and Hoo Ha go down, right, you wouldn't even have one if you weren't sixes or above in all, right? You have to be sixes, sevens after a video chat to even have a live date. So if the ratings are not going 6, 7, 8, if they're going 6, 5, 4, after half an hour, it was lovely to meet you. You seem like a fine human being. I don't think this is a romantic match. I wish you the best of luck. And you walk to your car or your subway or whatever, and bye. And then if you're too shy to say that, because a lot of women are intimidated to say that for good and bad reasons,
Mhm.
after half an hour, because you finished your drink, you say, it was lovely to meet you. Thank you so much for this date. I need to get to the dentist, or I need to get to my whatever appointment. And you say goodbye, and then you text them same day and say, it was lovely to meet you. I don't think this is a romantic match. You seem lovely. I wish you the best of luck. Boom, done.
Okay, so do you always recommend that people do a video chat first? And if so, why?
Such good questions. I always recommend people do a video chat before they meet live because number one, it rules out most scammers.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
Number two, it rules out people who are not into you enough to figure out how to show up for a video chat. And number three, it's to check chemistry. And that's really important. So you're at sixes or seven in the banter and whatever you can tell from the profile, you now have to check chemistry and wink wink, are they who they showed in the picture, and are those pictures recent? Or are they in a situation where they can get on a video chat, meaning they have a quiet room away from other people, right? Like these are all really good questions to find out. So the minute you go, and I have a specific phrase for this, it's been lovely getting to know you. I'm enjoying our banter via the app or via the text. I would love to hop on a 10-minute video chat to check and see if we have chemistry.
How can you check and see if you have chemistry on a screen?
What you can't fully, right? You can
Okay.
just find out, were the pictures recent? Are they who they were in the pictures? Will they get their butts to a video chat? And then
Okay.
8 out
All
of
right.
10 times
Fair
you
enough.
will go, oh, there's chemistry. Two out of 10 times you'll be like, I still can't tell, but everything's still sevens, so I'll go meet them live.
Okay. So part of it, it sounds like a big part of this is just to make sure that they are who they portrayed themselves to be. And if they at least pass that hurdle, then you can do the
Yeah.
coffee or
And
tea.
you really are checking chemistry. It's not foolproof for checking chemistry, but if you're looking at someone online and you're thinking, I'm just not like, I like the picture's grainy or might be old, whatever. I like the basics that I see there, but I can't tell. Or what if they were 30 pounds heavier or 10 years older? I do need to check if there's chemistry. And by the way, there have been plenty of stories I've heard where the person comes on and they don't look like their pictures, but there's still great chemistry. So I'm not ruling out anybody who put outdated pictures, but that's also the opportunity for someone to go, hey, I told the app I was 64, I'm actually 68. Or those pictures showed me before I went gray. I decided to stop dying. I'm gray now. Like it's your chance to go, are any of these deal breakers given what I already know? So that
Right.
video chat is amazing at preventing dud dates and preventing you from wasting time and just weeding people out.
Okay, so how long should somebody go in the banter and video date time before they actually meet a live human?
Okay, and you're just tapping into my love of nerdy protocols and spreadsheets because that's my jam. You get 1 to 2 weeks texting. That's it. There's no reason you should be texting someone for more than 1 to 2 weeks. That's plenty of time to ask questions, be fun, be funny, show your personality, see if there's rapport. At the end of 2 weeks, if it hasn't already happened, you use the could we hop on the video chat option. If they're asking you out already, you can be like, great, let's hop on a video chat and check to see if we have chemistry. I don't want to waste your time. Right? You're helping them too, see if they like you.
Yeah.
So, and especially if they're paying, right? Like it's just courteous. So if that has not happened, then you're trying to keep your pipeline clean. You ask the video chat question, that rules some people out, they disappear, and it rules some people in. Now you're negotiating a time and an app to use. You can have a Gmail that you use just for dating associated with a Zoom account. You can many of the dating sites have in-app video chat features because they know how important this is. So try to do something that keeps you anonymous, unless this is someone you know through a friend or you can find them on social and you trust who they are. Don't give away your personal information at this stage. At the end of the video chat, and by the way, it doesn't have to be 10 minutes. You're just saying 10 minutes so people don't freak out and think they have to prepare.
Right.
If you end up gabbing away the evening, fine. If it's 10 minutes and you find you're not a match, perfect. You had to go because you had something else. And again, same rules apply as the date. You either say right then and there, sorry, I don't think it's a match. Say what if you argued about politics for the whole 10 minutes? Sorry, don't think it's a match. Or if you're too intimidated, you just have a reason to go. And then you text that soon after to, again, keep your pipeline clear and in integrity. If it goes well, at the end of the video chat, you say, it's been really nice chatting with you. I feel like we have a lot in common and we seem to synergize well or get along well. If you ask me out, I'd say yes.
You say that?
If you're the woman, because that's the way you don't end up in situationships or being their therapist or an ongoing banter or worse, you get off and you go, I don't know if he liked me. I don't know if that went well.
Oh, okay. But should you, there's multiple schools of thought out there.
Yes.
Should you, as the woman, ever say, hey, I think we have chemistry. This has been really fun. You want to go out?
You can, but people who study men and women find that the majority of men feel more empowered and their testosterone is peaked when you let them lead. So I
Okay.
mean, it's not a
Cool.
hard and fast rule, but
What about the book way back in the day? I don't know if you remember the rules,
I do.
right?
I
You were
do.
supposed to, as the woman, like let the guy do all the things and the asking and the what have you.
Right.
So wouldn't this be violating a rule?
No, well, this is a compromise on the rule, kind of like Ferberizing your baby. Like we decided to not be quite so extreme as we progressed in human evolution. Um, you are letting him lead the way. You're just letting him know he's going to get a yes. So what that does is it leaves it to the man to generate, which is the right thing, and it does leave you going like, is he gonna? Right.
Yeah,
And then you find out, right? But you can never go, oh, well, did I send a mixed message? Maybe he didn't think I liked him. You said,
Mhm.
if you asked me out, I'd say yes. So he may then and there try to make a date with you, or he may go, great, I'll ask you out. I have one client who told me she was video chatting with someone and he said, I will ask you out by noon tomorrow. Right. because a lot of men want to go back and plan and think and delight you and come up with something and generate it. They don't want you to tell them every detail about what to do. He wants to be the one who does it. So you are in a way, you are actually, I think you're evolving the rules by continuing to empower the man to generate. And obviously I don't really believe in gender or gender roles. So this kind of, these are, I would apply these lightly and appropriately to your situation, but you're also making sure he gets the win because people are scared to get a no. They don't want, men are getting rejected constantly online, constantly. So you saying I'd say yes is very charming and very helpful. And if he's your match, he'll ask you out. And if he's not, he won't.
I never thought of it that way, but yeah, guys have a hard time these days.
Brutal.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
brutal for men.
everybody does. I think just
Yeah.
connecting with people in our digital world is hard, and we didn't evolve to be staring at a screen and saying swipe which way was what, you know?
Right. Totally. Totally. And by the way, I don't mean to say it's not hard for women. I just think as women, we don't think about how hard it is for men.
Yeah, I think it's hard for everybody across the board, and especially those who haven't been in the dating pool for a while and were married. I mean, this is scary stuff for a
It
lot
is
of
the
people.
scariest. And I think love's the most important thing. So why wouldn't you be scared if you meant it? It
Yeah.
is scary. It's so vulnerable.
So, I mean, I hate to have to wrap this up, but we're going to have to do that. Do you have any last minute tips for people? If
Mhm.
somebody is trying to get back on the horse, so to speak, what tips can you have that will help them be successful when they do?
Okay. Well, good news. I have a quiz. It's designed around what I consider to be the 34 most popular obstacles to finding love. So in my 20 years of coaching daters, I have seen what gets in people's way and what needs to be handled. And I created a quiz to just have you self-assess, right? And by taking the quiz, it takes 5 minutes. It's on my website, lauriegerber.com. When you take the quiz, you will go, oh, I see what I still need to work on, right? So I'm not going to tell you all 34 things right now, but you can imagine some of them we've mentioned, like you're not over your ex, you don't know what you really want, you don't love yourself. There's a lot of different obstacles that people could be up against. The first thing I would suggest, the first tip is find out what your obstacles are. Make a list. It's not a finite list. I could only come up with 34 and I've been doing this 20 years. And you don't have all 34, right? You have 10 to 15. Most people have about 10 to 15 obstacles, not 34. But some people only have 3, right? And wouldn't it be nice to find out what your obstacles are so you can now tackle them? Yeah, and then watch my free webinar because that'll also help you determine what your 3H criteria are, and that works for any gender. I mean, it's don't be offended. I'm talking to women in it, but the exercises are universal.
That is wonderful. Laurie, I thank you so much for all of the wisdom and the tips that you've shared in our time together today. If people are curious, if they want to take your quiz, if they want to find out more about you or how to work with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Website, lauriegerber.com, LAURIEGERBER.com. If you do /webinar, you'll get into the free training on the 3H's. If you just go to the website at the top in the banner, you'll get the quiz offered to you. It's pretty straightforward. You can just go in and have a look around.
Laurie, that's awesome. And I hope for those of you who are listening, who are maybe wondering if you're ready to get back on the horse, get back in the pool or not, Laurie is definitely someone to check out. So, Laurie, thank you for sharing all the tips and wisdom that you did today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And for those of you who are watching and listening, if you enjoyed today's episode, if you'd like more content just like this, do me a big favor. Give this episode a thumbs up, like, subscribe wherever you're listening. If you're on video, if you're on just the podcast, doesn't matter. Subscribe, like, and I look forward to talking with you again next time.